Our guest today, Rajanand, will show us his process to make this preparation fast and easy. The result for him, more closed deals faster. Raj is not only a good friend of mine from my time back in London, but also the CEO of Goodman Lantern, a content marketing agency that works on 4 continents. In the content marketing space, I think Raj is unique because he is a computer systems engineer by training and holds an MBA. On top of that, he pursued a PhD in AI before deciding that he'd rather launch his own startup. With his current company, Goodman Lantern, he's completed over 1,700 projects with more than 100 clients. And now, let's learn from Raj. Raj, welcome to the Startups Podcast, and it's great to finally have you on the show. Tell us, where are you? What do you do? Tell us everything about you before we get started with the actual AI stuff.
Sure. Thank you, Simon, for having me, firstly. Good to see you again, this time virtually. Last time it was a bit more in person in Cape Town. Yeah, so both of us spent a lot of time in London. Now you are in Cape Town, and I'm spending more time in Bangkok, which is where...
Closest captain warmth.
Yeah, I think, for me, it was the warmth and family kind of like, just kind of, I'm still doing a lot of traveling back to the UK where business is and home is, but, it's good to, as you mentioned, coconut water and warm weather and a lot of nice beaches can't be frowned upon. I think it's a great addition to my life.
So all your clients mostly all are in the UK, so you work remotely?
So we have clients on 5 continents, primarily the US market, followed by Europe. And then Asia Pacific is growing very fast. So in Japan, China, and Australia is growing pretty fast. But yeah, America still is the biggest market. Even the clients we work with in Asia Pacific target the US market quite a bit. So I would say, yeah, really diverse, very global, teams on 4 continents, customers on 5 continents.
And so what do you do exactly?
So I run a content marketing agency. We help our customers sell better and grow faster with content. We target primarily the high-tech companies. So think about sort of technology and sort of computer sciences, AI. Number 2, we work with defense companies, biomedical sciences, healthcare, and then manufacturing. So this is the kind of space we kind of work with. And there's others as well, but that's the main space we kind of work in. And we provide content end-to-end strategy, content delivery, and then distribution.
Right. So the reason why we are on the show here is because we want to look into how you can use AI in marketing. And one of the things I believe is the tools are a dime a dozen, and we're probably going to see more and more. So that's not really the tricky thing or the challenge, but the true challenge is how to use these tools to have solid processes. And it feels a bit like in the blockchain days when everybody loved the technology and were trying to look for a problem that they could solve with the technology. And it's not that extreme, but I feel that a lot of people who are so very excited about AI, but they don't really have a problem that they've solved in the past that they can now solve even better. So let's look into, I think you prepared 3 ways, 3 processes, 3 ideas where you apply AI to do something that either was a pain to do before or you didn't even think of doing before because it was out of bounds of any feasible effort to do this. So let's start. What have you prepared today?
Yeah, so what I want to say before I get started, I'm going to try to share my screen, is that, when it comes to looking at sort of the different tools and everything else, what is the limitation is not what a tool can do, is sometimes our imagination. I think that's one of the biggest challenges which I feel people have today. And I did research in AI at university with a PhD, and I can tell you that, we have come a far long way. And today I'm going to show you across a couple of things. First thing I want to show you is how to prepare for a meeting with a prospect customer. I think it's something which we all think about. We always do. We have a lot of, client calls, for example. And, one thing is you just show up to the meeting and you're like, okay, well, the personality type of this person, I wonder what they're interested in. So what I do is I started doing this thing whereby I've tried to kind of break this down and understand the personality based on the LinkedIn profile. So for example, what I do is, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you the way I do it. And I'm also going to show you that there are some things to it as well. And I'm going to show you how to solve the kinks as well. So for example, what I do is when I say, for example, I have a call with Raj, I just want to use my profile. I don't want to use somebody else's profile. So I just go look at Raj, copy the data. And what I do is I go to ChatGPT, and I prefer ChatGPT 4 or 3.5, which is the paid version, but the output is far better. So what I'll try to ask it is summarize the experience of this person going to speak to in the next 30 minutes. Tell me everything about their experience and anything interesting I should know about them in a tabular format. And I think about why this is so important. When you get the answer in a paragraph, it's not as scannable. But if you do it in a table format, it becomes far more scannable and easy to read through. So I'll put this data in. Most likely you'll say the data is too long. So then I'm going to show you how to kind of break this down into smaller chunks. So yeah, I said that's too long. So then I have a tool here, which is called, what I've done the tool. I'll do it again, hang on. It's called ChatGPT Splitter. And what this tool does is that it splits the chat into smaller bits. So I just put the text here.
That's cool.
I click on process. And what it does is it breaks into smaller chunks. And all I have to do is copy paste the chunks. So copy, let me just go back again here. So yeah, so this is like a great tool because it really helps to kind of make the process easier. So I'm just going to take this out, go here, paste that, and then go back, save and submit. Now it's going to ask me the next one. So I'm going to go and copy the next section, which is this here, go down. So it says chunk 1 done. Awesome. Chunk 2 put it.
PDF tool before, but then I had to create a PDF, but that's much faster.
Yeah. So that works really well as well. But this is like, so I've just done 1 and 2. So I'm going to do 3 now. I'll copy the third one. And basically what you just keep adding it inside. And the reason for that is that now this thread is going to be invaluable for future as well. And I can share this thread with somebody else to the share feature within ChatGPT. So that's why I use ChatGPT all the time. Also, when you're paying for it, you might as well use that tool that you're paying for anyway. So I'll copy paste all the stuff in. Obviously, then last one left and it's done. Done and last one there. And now I can ask it the question I want to ask, which is, tell me a little about, I can spell better, about this person, their experience, interest, anything I need to know for a sales call in a tabular format. Now, I can get this answer now, and you'll see that it will give me that data in a table format, which I think is one of the best features of ChatGPT. So we're going to tabular format. But what's really cool as well is I can really define the different columns. You can actually ask you to even rate what's the most important part in this table, which I'll do next for you. So you can really use this table in a very interesting thing. So you can see now that I've got the data in a much easier scannable format, as you can see on your screen. Yeah. And also it tells me now, note for sales call. So it's telling me I'll experience in software development and digital marketing. He has extensive experience in startup and businesses to business operations. So he's got a B2B guy. He's involved in writing impactful white papers for educating customers, lead generation. Obviously, that's why we do it as a content company. Discuss how your several services can support his current business ventures and how you can help meet his company's needs, customer education and lead generation, right? And you can also see here it's broken down current position, past position, education. Though I don't need to go any further on this. Now I can also say, for example, recreate that table and add an additional column giving it percentage on how important each data in the table is. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to give me the same table again, but now I have percentage. So this is a small use case of a LinkedIn profile. Imagine you have a document which is like humongous, and you just summarize it into a table, right? There we go. So it's not giving me its percentage importance. Obviously, the most important thing to someone's is a name. So it's got my names over there, 100%. The title is super important. So you can see that it's kind of listing things, like for example, I would have not known that this is the most important thing to remember amongst everything else. And also the skills as well. So, I can just summarize this very, very well. And I can then share this with my team by just clicking on share. Or if I click on this site, I don't show my previous searches, but click on share. I can share that with my team members. And then they all know as well. So I can get this search done by my VA or a team member who has more time on their hands. And they can send me this report, for example, via chat, or internal chat or email. I open it up. I can see what their skills are, what their pain points are. And I can ask different questions. And then I'm ready to go to the meeting. I can be ready in like 5 minutes. I got everything I know about them. Yeah. But so that's one thing. But the other thing is, one more thing which I do quite a lot is if you click on their profile and click and go to activities, you can see what they're really interested in. Because what we like on people's profile, what we post on on our own profile, showcases our interests. And so what I can do now is I can copy paste this entire thing, go to ChatGPT, and again I'll put this in. I'll just ask the same question based on the LinkedIn activity. Showcase to me this person's interest, and it will lay out for me the different keywords which are important for this person I'm going to go and talk to or speak with. And that's invaluable because if I use the right keywords all the time, they will resonate with me a bit more than if I just kind of go in blind and just say, well, it's B2B, 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 and they're like, no, I'm a B2C person. So it's about understanding the customer really well from the word go.
I think it's going to change the dynamics of these conversations, because going forward, you would hope that the person that you speak to has already done the research and is not asking all the sort of banal questions about the industry. I mean, in your case, you have a prospect you want to talk to, and I guess one thing you have to understand is the industry. So now you can already get a crash course on like what does the industry look like, so you don't have to ask that prospect like, tell me about your industry, and the guy's like, dude, didn't you check stuff like ChatGPT and understand what my industry looks like? So
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and also you can ask ChatGPT to like, what questions should I ask the prospect, or what points shall I mention on the call to resonate with them, and it will just give you tons of answers. But now it understands the person's profile really well, so it can break it down into a very succinct information. And that's very powerful because now it's able to really think like them. And so me spending time to learn about them, which, in the past I've spent an hour and a half on research. I mean, I spend a lot of time doing research on a person before I do a call with them, because I think that's such an important part of getting to know these people. So now it just kind of cuts my time by, 3,000-4,000%, for example, because I'm just in 5 minutes, it's all done.
That's amazing. And did you use any other sources besides LinkedIn to get a sense of that person? Do you check the website or?
Yeah. So the thing I do is I go to the website like this one, copy paste that, and I do exactly the same thing. I'll split up into, I'll go back here, chat splitter, I'll refresh this page, I'll enter that in there. Or I can also put a prompt here as well. But what it's going to do now is it's going to put in the information for me. It's actually very small, so I can just put in based on their website. Tell me something unique or contrary about
that one,
the company. Because I think that's where, if they stand out. Again, I didn't do one thing important, which is to put in a tabular format, but I'll just show you the difference. So you put this in a normal format, and then you put that into a tabular format, and you'll see the differences. Like, you can leave it. So unique or contrarian, empowering women. That's a big part of our company. We empower women, global team, award-winning, versatile expertise. Okay, again, really a lot of things there to like, you can either read in this format, or you can ask it to like summarize this in a tabular format and add a column to provide how relevant or this is in percentage, and then you just get the same data now in a table. And what's that is that you can like get your team to like summarize that, send the table like in your email. It's easy, it's done. You can see that the most important thing on top is 20% important. That's the highest probably amongst everything else. So it just kind of helps you break it down. The summary is also much better.
That's nice. That is nice to give a percentage weighting to the different qualities.
Yeah. So very quickly, it's given me like these different analysis, and I can make my life much easier, more succinct. And like, so that's one more thing I do is, for example, a client sends me a massive presentation. I had this one client send me an image, a picture or something. And he said to me, well, like review all this stuff, for example. And I'm like, bloody hell, now, how am I going to do this? I would type the image information into ChatGPT one by one. So I found another tool. Again, tools are dime a dozen, but some tools can be really helpful to actually be part of the process. So this tool converts, it's basically optical actor recognition, OCR. You upload an image to it, and it will just quickly convert it into text, which you can put into your ChatGPT. That's right. So all these tools like this ChatGPT splitter, image to text converter, they're really good because they make my life much easier. And there's also like one more, which is like, PDF to Word, for example, PDF to text, it has all these different things as well. You have a long PDF, you put it in, you use ChatGPT splitter, put into everything ChatGPT, the central resource for everything you require.
I was looking for something like the image to text converter.
There you have it.
So what does the output look like?
It's basically just like text file. Let me see if I can like find some image. I do this like, okay, I'm just going to not do this. I don't know what is going to come up. 1 second. Okay, I was going to go and find a image with text on it, and then I'm going to copy paste that URL into it. So let's look at this one. It's a bit slow, sorry, but I think the picture basically
images. If there's a person,
so it will just pick up the images itself and then take everything else off. So like it will not care about the person in there. You'll just look at all the written bits there, and it will just extract the text from there. That's all it's going to do. So let's see if I can copy the image. Yeah, like this one. Copy image address. Hopefully do the trick for us. We're in here. Yeah, submit. And now I'll just go through the whole text, and it will just find the text part of it, copy paste that text, and you just jot that into your ChatGPT. And then you have the image, because you can't upload an image, unfortunately, in your ChatGPT. And that's a real challenge, right? So how do you do that? That's how you do it. Right? And this is not only in the case of this image here. Imagine you are, if I go to, for example, a physical location for a meeting, for example, you did anything right now. Nothing will happen. Okay, anyway, say I go to a physical meeting and I see a big poster there. It's a long poster with instructions, for example. I copy it, I take a picture of it, I go to this tool on my phone, and then simply copy that stuff with ChatGPT. After I got text from here, with ChatGPT, let's summarize it. So instead of me spending, especially when I'm traveling, I was in Japan, for example, and I had this like massive amount of like stuff to read through in like train station to get my train from Tokyo airport all the way to like the center. And so what I did was I copied the whole thing up, put on this tool, summarize it for me with ChatGPT, ask to find the best answers, and then with the best, shortest route, the most efficient way to use my time, basically.
Okay, so that is with the prospects, scanning prospects before a call. So you said it's saving a massive amount of ton of time when doing the research. Do you have an answer? Like, what is the sense you have when you get on a call? Sort of how does the conversation go? Does it go easier? So what have you seen in that regard?
So I think the biggest impact in the call is that we closed much more. We close more sales because like we are able to get much better conversions, and that's simply because we really understand the customer. Like before we go on the call, we know exactly who they are, what they sort of want to do, and that really helps to like really bring in more aha moments, more yeses, and really hitting the point from the first 5-10 minutes. Usually, if you go unprepared, you spend the first 20 minutes discovering challenges. But now I understand what they are interested in, based on the activities. We know who they are, for example, based on the profile. We look at the website to know exactly what they do, for instance. So if the company does, for example, they're a defense company and they specialize in hovercrafts. And if you know that already, we can talk about hovercrafts a bit more. And when I spend my initial days in like spending time going from the UK to France in a hovercraft, for example, that would resonate better with them. And that will make them feel much, much better. And they feel that they have a connection there with the salesperson as well.
I can totally see this. And I could also imagine that it allows your conversation partner to open up more because they feel like you really know the industry. And it's not, as you said, you don't spend 20 minutes warming that person up by trying to understand who they are and where they come from, but you instantly give them the feeling like, I know you, I understand your problems. And then it's much easier for them to just open up and spill out all the things that you need to do to give them a great service.
Precisely.
Excellent. So that is one great application. I loved how you shared the ChatGPT splitter. Great tip with the table. I haven't thought about that. That it makes it so much easier to scan the output and also weighing the different properties that you've been delivered. So that's cool. The other thing that you wanted to show is the YouTube summaries and how to scan that faster. Tell us what you do there.
Yeah. So I think, again, there's definitely a theme there between all these different things, but I was going to share with you, for example, like one thing I spent a lot of time on learning and as well as sort of going to YouTube videos. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to do a better job? So I'm just going to share with you, hang on 1 second, the screen again, and I'll go through this like YouTube thing. So this is a video, for example, and I've added a Chrome extension called Glare. Doesn't matter which one you use any of the tools which are there. And this is a long video, it's 40 minutes long, right? And now what I want to do from this video is to figure out the key points from this video, which are the bits which are really interesting for me, and which are the quote which I should definitely keep in mind. So what I'll do is, there's all the Chrome extension already there. I go here, generating generating the transcription. Now what I'll do is I'll go back here. I'm sure it's pretty long. Click on process, and I'll just copy paste this stuff. 1 second, I'll just copy paste it. There we go. We can copy paste this across to myself. And what I love about this tool is that it kind of goes green if you already copied it before, so you know exactly where you are. So it doesn't, you don't have to like copy the same thing twice by mistake, and then copy that across. And then when I've done it, I'll just say to it, okay, all done now. So I'll just say, summarize the video in a tabular format. Include in the table includes in the table as a column the actual transcription, i.e. the code. Only include elements which are unusual or contrarian. Add a percentage of how important this is for AI, or important this is in relation to AI. So now I can do this different summaries based on like different types of things, right? Using ChatGPT 3.5, but you can see now I've got quotes now. So instead of just getting summaries, which is great, now I've got quotes as well. So what's the advantage of that? Say, for example, the video is your own and you wanted to kind of highlight the most important parts of the video. You can actually just get the quotes from the video and you can make like images for your social media post, for example, from it, right? Say this is what the activity was. Say, for instance, you didn't want to look at the most important quotes from the point of view of AI, or from the point of view of entrepreneurship. So you can change that as well. You also include in this, for example, add an additional column to mention the timestamp. So now what you will have is you'll also have the timestamp from where this bit element starts. You can, instead of going through the entire video, you can actually go to the timestamp, which is the most important time in there. And you have the weightage of how important this is from the point of view of AI. So you really focus on the elements which are really important to us or to me or to social media, for example. So you cut the time of going through a 40 minutes long video or 1 hour long video and just focus on the most important elements for you. And you can also ask it to sort it out in a way that most important point is on top. Currently is sorted out on timestamp, for example. So you can see that you can use this way to sort out tables as well and have it, rearrange for yourself to scan the data quickly. What's important in that strategy is that instead of you doing this whole thing, you ask it to be done by somebody else. And they send you that thing, you can just scan the data very quickly and get information you need.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because I see very often, just assuming you now want to create a post out of that, it's one thing to internalize information and then identify the interesting bits, which I think is sort of the hard thing with content creation, to understand the market or the reader and understand, okay, this is a statement that people probably respond to versus the other stuff that people are not interested in, which I think is a thing that is a matter of experience. The older you are, the better you understand what people want. And this whole sifting and sorting is something that you can delegate to a junior person, and then you just scan the output, see, okay, these are the top statements, and that would probably work well because it's congruent, so let's do something with that, and then save a ton of time. That's cool. I'll steal that one.
Yeah, please do. It's all meant to be, shared and stolen. So please do. I think also what's interesting is, someone sends you a video, which is like 2 hours long video. And I got a video from somebody, it was an MIT or Harvard or something like that university course, 2 hours long course. And I'm like, oh boy, who's going to go through all of this stuff? So I just did exactly the same thing I just showed to you. Summarized the whole thing for me. Looked at one module, which was very interesting for me, which was unusual. Now I just knew where to kind of go and look at it and not look at everything else.
Fantastic, cool. So you have to have the video in the background. The video is running, the tool scans the thing, transcribes it, then you get the output. That's how it works.
See, basically every video has transcription nowadays on YouTube, right? This tool just extracts the transcription and takes it out from the normal format into a different format, which is easy to copy and paste. That's pretty much the whole game. That's what it's pretty much what it is. Yeah. I think one thing I kind of didn't cover and think is important for me is that, like, transcription is great, summary is better, but sometimes what's important is the original words, the words which are said by the speaker. I think with this technique, what comes out are the original words and the bits which I feel will be important for me from a particular topic perspective. I think that's the bit which I think is really important. Like, I like quotes, when Simon Sinek says the power of why, if it wasn't said in that way, it wouldn't be as impactful. Or I have a dream by Martin Luther King. Those words are really important for me. So this is what it does really well for me. It's kind of quote the original words, which I think is very powerful.
Yeah, quotes are super powerful, and I think it's one of the tools that is underused in LinkedIn writing or other media, to just quote people. Because the minute you see the quotation marks, it sort of suddenly sounds 10 times more important and authoritative for some reason. Cool.
Yeah.
That is also a very nice thing. I like the summarization, and I shall steal this. So on to the last bit, I don't really know.
Perplexity AI. So yeah. So let me just summarize just tell you or inform and introduce what this tool does. So obviously, back in the day, we all relied, or we still rely on Google for all information. We use Google to then figure out like what the different elements are. For example, we need different things, for instance. But the power of large language models or ChatGPT like tools, Bard, and et cetera, means that we can now do the power of Google and large language models together into one. I think what's interesting in this next tool is that it does a fantastic job at it. Now, Bard has this already, but it's probably the worst implementation I've ever seen from Google. And ChatGPT 4 has plugins, and they recently just paused it because it was so terrible anyway. So there isn't a space for this thing. And this, for me, especially from a content perspective, is a game changer. because in the coming months, years, we are going to challenge Google like tools with these kind of tools. It will be a combination of Google search with a GPT style thing together, and it running in like parallel processing style is basically like doing like, it is like, instead of crawling, this is like running is what this really is. I'm going to show you a quick demo of this, because when I saw it in its proper form, I was like, wow, this is definitely a game changer. So let me get into it. Let me stop hyping it now and just get into it. So, okay, introducing to you perplexity.ai. There is 26 million recently for this tool. And what's interesting is like everything else, first of all, okay, so this is like, interface is very similar to, I guess, ChatGPT bot. First thing you can do here is you can actually enter your own profile. This is a profile of me, like who am I? So it just knows who I am. So everything it kind of enters or uses my personality as well. Okay, that's the first thing it does. Number two is you can ask it a lot of questions. So I'm going to first just going to ask it something similar to, let me see. Let me go find something which is interesting. So let's say this. Provide me with five latest headlines in the say from British sports, right? So first thing you can do is it actually is going to go ahead and provide me real time information on the web, summarize that for me super quickly, right? That's the first thing. Number two, it does for me, as you can see, that is it provides me with sources as well. So if I want to check anything, I know where that is from. Then it has full information around that, and I can like learn further about it. Okay, and you can see that using different links. This is all like, it already takes that ChatGPT 4 and bot and this to a different level. It does both real time, so fast, right? Sources as well, so fast. And now the real magic is this, right? For me, say for example, let me just a new thread going. So I'm going to turn the Copilot on, right? I'm going to copy this one from below. Plan a trip to Tokyo. Plan my first day in Tokyo. I love Kobe beef and sake. I will love to go for sake tasting at 7 p.m. I would like that place has a good vibe. I also would like Simon to join me. He enjoys, what do you enjoy eating, Simon?
Sushi.
Let's start with this, right? Let's show you this Copilot. Now, it's actually asking. So basically, you put this first thing in. The first thing it does is that it just clarifies questions. So clarifying questions happens next. So what time would you like to start your day in Tokyo, right? I think, as I mentioned before, just said, okay, let's say we're going to start our day, or we're going to start 2 p.m. onwards, right? And continue. So now it knows exactly when I'm available from. So it'll ask you customized questions. And look what it's doing right now. It's reviewing my profile first, so it understand who I am for my AI profile. Number two is reading the responses. So it's gone like different things. It put it into a different search engines to get that information out. It then look for all the other places where they serve. So identified from here is like Kobe beef. There's like sake, there's sushi, or production in Tokyo, on 3 different sources. Then identified those ones, and then it gave me a whole itinerary of what I should be doing, including the locations of these places as well. This tool is phenomenal. I've tried it multiple times. What's interesting about this tool is that in normal mode, I believe, is using ChatGPT 3.5 as an engine, as a GPT. And in case of Copilot, it runs multiple threads. So as you can see here, all these are different threads which are happening in parallel. So it's faster, and it uses ChatGPT 4 if I'm not mistaken. So as you can see over here, GPT 4 for access. So it's phenomenal. Like, you got the power of Google and ChatGPT 4 in one place. I mean, it just makes life so much easier. And then you can like ask it more questions, follow-up questions, for example, like you can do in ChatGPT. You can really dive deep into it and build I look for new Netflix shows, for example. Like, all these are done by Perplexity, for example. I want to summarize something which is current and not stuck in time, because remember, ChatGPT is stuck in time. 2021 is when it ends its data. This one is real time.
Okay, so help me with a idea for business or for marketing. How would you use that in that context? Anything you use it there?
Yeah. So whatever I just showed you in like ChatGPT earlier, you apply exactly the same thing here as well. All the stuff, right? The good news is you don't need to even look at, like, you don't need to even like You can just go and say, for example, I'll just show you what I'm trying to say. So just say, visit, I think this works. I haven't done this before, but I know I've tried once a long time back. Visit goodmanlantern.com and tell me what they do and how can a technology development company work with them. And I just do co-pilot on that. And hopefully it will just go to the website, figure out what the company does and understands technology. And so now it can write it. Now it's asking a clarifying question, web development. So it's asking me what kind of company should I focus on. So now it's clever. It's like the real researcher working for you, and not maybe one, maybe two of them, because it's so very fast. And and I can also summarize it in a tabular format. It's given me tons of like what do we do as a company? All is it accurate? It's given me sources as well. So I'm going to verify these things. Verify the sources. I'm going to crunch based on our website, and it's given me what they can do for GL. If you are we are focused on SEO ranking 100%, and so it's talked about web development for Goodman Lantern, which is so true. That's what we will be focusing on, and growth marketing, absolutely. So again, to prepare for a meeting, or you're going to meet somebody, for example, you can go to LinkedIn profile and just enter copy paste the LinkedIn profile, put it over here, and all the stuff we just did manually can be done in seconds here.
So essentially, the first process you shared with us, scanning a prospect before a sales call, you can do faster and easier, even with Perplexity AI.
That's right. Yeah. But I think what's interesting here is that at the end of the day, all these tools work really well. It's about understanding what do we need and what do you want to use it for. Perplexity for me is a tool for more real life stuff, but the output of ChatGPT 4 is still a bit better than Perplexity. And even if they use the same engine, sometimes there's a better output. So the token, I think they use 100 billion tokens to, and a better process to train the AI. So that fine tuning which they've done is unbelievable. I think that's what I've, knowing the AI, I studied at university, and that's what I've learned from it, that it's not only about the number of tokens you put in, it's about the care you take to select the data to train these AI models. And ChatGPT 4 is far superior. It's phenomenal. So sometimes I still use ChatGPT 4 because, the data is much better, the answer is much better.
So exciting. I have a lot of trying to do after the call. So thanks for sharing all these tools, Raj. We've come to the end of the recording, the call. Give us a quick sales pitch. What do you do, and who is your ideal customer who should be reaching out to you if they want to work with you, and how can they best reach you?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned this stuff before. So it's just the same. We're on goodmanlantern.com. We are a global content marketing agency. We help customers sell better and grow faster. Work primarily with high-tech companies, and our client base is global. So that's never a challenge. We are very multinational in many ways. So the content is in English or in French or Arabic, doesn't matter, because we do all languages. And one thing we're doing quite a bit right now is, we're trying to help where we can to be more efficient. So stuff I just talked to you about is all the stuff we kind of use for, not for creating content, because we're a content company by humans, for humans. So we are actually very hands-on company, because at the end of the day, and this is something that's really important, is, today you can rank really well with ChatGPT content, for example, at some point it's going to be penalized. And so we're taking really good care to create handmade content, a bit like handmade leather bags. The factories stay out there to make handbags, but people still prefer the luxury goods to be handmade. So similarly, we do handmade content creation, but we use tools like I just mentioned earlier for research purposes and to make sure we fine tune or cross check everything for accuracy and reliability. And so we go the extra mile. That's the sales pitch. You can find me on LinkedIn, Raj Anand, or Twitter, Raj Anand. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj, and great to have you on the show, and hope to see you in London sometimes.
See you soon, Simon. Thank you.